Welcome, Duval, to your new NFL season tradition here. Welcome to Wednesday night. Welcome to the new place where the Duval Dive lives, at least during the season. I, of course, am Kyle Nash, a student of the game, and we are here to bring you week one action. I could probably squeeze another way to say week one up in here, but it's time to get that excited. It's time to get going. And Duval Devout, welcome to regular season NFL football as we get in there. Of course, Thursday being the holiday that is the NFL debut. And then Sunday, the Jacksonville Jaguars head over to Miami to battle the Miami Dolphins, and the season officially gets underway for the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Duval Devout and all that. It's going to be a fun time. And I'm going to say this without even any question. This is one time where I don't need my personal champion. I want to watch my personal champion be excited for the upcoming season. My man, Big Cat Country's own Travis D. Holmes. What's up, my guy?
Man, I'm doing well, bro. It's almost real. It's almost here. I'm not excited because I'm not that guy, but I'm getting there. How about that?
I know you have talked about how you getting excited is a thing. I'm so excited. I put the wrong background up first there. Now we got the proper Duval Dive background up to something bumpy. And actually a little extra excited too by Sertoba Media's Drew Willingham. He's coming in big time. Oh, you haven't heard the new bell yet too. As the architect of the Bing, as declared by Drew Willingham, the Huddle Up crew, specifically Big Jim Neese, host of the Huddle Up podcast, provided me with the bell. So whenever I make a drop, I don't have to voice act. I have this bad boy right here.
Save your voice. I like it.
I could, well, you know, there have been times I've been sick and I've been playing hurt and I could have used that. And listen, there have been plenty of opportunities throughout the week, Travis Holmes, for me to use a lot of for the Duval Dive here. Okay. First of all, I'm on the Inside Leverage podcast, the Miami Dolphins podcast here on the Fans First Sports Network. So there was that, hung out with him, had a lot. Maybe you saw the short, me talking about BTJ and answering his questions there. Then also, not for nothing, the Let's Be Real crew had me in there previewing the AFC South. Somebody in there actually said the Titans are going to win the division. So after that comic relief was done, definitely had an opportunity to shout you out there as well using the bell. And listen, the bell was a hit, man. I don't know. I here I am just trying to flash cheap plugs, and suddenly that's the idea. I don't know, whatever. But speaking of identities, see, that's a segue, folks. Speaking of identities, this defense, listen, if you were wondering about how different they would look with Ryan Nielsen in the building, you're getting, you thought you had indications before, but nah, that ain't what it is. The depth chart coming out here for week one, we knew there were going to be some changes. We knew there were going to be some differences. There were already some eyebrow raising things in there, as I wrote on Fans First Sports Network site there about surprises in the 53-man roster. And I know what I was surprised about. I didn't even get to touch some of the stuff that Travis Holmes wanted to talk about. So I'm going to lead with this and do it as one of those just hook it straight to my veins, an offense line observation that you're making in the depth chart here. Cooper Hodges as the backup swing guard. And I only bring it up because of how many injuries, by the way, the Jags had. I mean, we thought Cooper Hodges did good in preseason. He did good enough to get here. So you got to dig that, right?
Right. I mean, that was a big takeaway for me because it was always a question of, are they really going to trot out any of these other guys that we are seeing in training camp, like or in preseason games? I was really hoping not, and because he was the main one that was playing. It was giving you quality play on the field. That was putting some quality tape, out there. And he's been really solid in the run game. So we hadn't seen him play as much left guard, but nevertheless, per the depth chart, they don't even have anybody backing up Ezra as far as that's concerned. They just have him backing up Scherf. So I'm like, all right, cool. There's your swing guard, Cooper Hodges. Let's keep that thing moving.
Yeah, and I'll say this too. Let me pop quiz, Travis Holmes. Cooper Hodges just caused Tyler Shatley to end an 11-year career.
Maybe. Yes. Maybe. I mean, we still know Shatley's going to be here. He's already established he's going to retire after this season. So he's going to be in the area. Someone gets hurt, they go through some kind of a crazy spell like 2023. I'm sure he'll be ready and knowing it still knows the play, but he's not going to forget it tomorrow. They can hop on in. Right. The phone call away, Dave. Come and call him off that tractor. Come on.
You know, his cell phone.
Yeah, that's for them old school Jag fans. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Off the tractor. I mean, listen, is that a Forrest Gump reference? That's what I would say.
Nah, man, that's a Todd Bowman. He's an old quarterback that used to play for the Jags, and they used to always just call that dude randomly off of his tractor. He'll come on and just come and get that paycheck and just call these plays. Come on.
You're not wrong. Now that you mentioned Bowman, I get it now. That makes a lot more sense. Granted, I am not a Jag diehard like you, but I remember the name.
I understand.
You know, so that all makes sense to me. Obviously,
a big takeaway from that depth chart though is the thing that everybody's talking about, but nobody really wants to talk about because no one really knows. Hey man, Chad Muma versus Devin Lloyd. Like what is that going to be?
See, we were building that, Travis D. Holmes. Come on, man. Like, first of all, like let's not forget the defensive tackle spot. You got Devon Hamilton back, Mason Smith doing his thing, Jordan Jefferson still both in there where they're going, a lot of rotation showing, but then there's a lot of indication. And this is what I want guidance and question on from you. Eric Armstead looks like he's going to get a pretty healthy share of defensive end time as well. That was not on my bingo card. Where do you sit on that?
Oh, yeah, that was on the bingo card from day one for me personally, because once they weren't interested in someone like a Calais Campbell coming in, even though he had already played under Nielsen, I'm like, oh, no, that's Eric. So Eric Armstead is going to be Calais' guy, if that makes sense. He's going to be that big end when they get into those different packages. He's going to give you that a little bit more depth. And as soon as we saw roster cut downs, that kind of confirmed it because they even listed him as an edge at that time. So I was like, all right, cool. Y'all thought this might be what it was?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. They had him as a defensive end towards the end during the Bucks joint practice. Like they on the roster, he was a D. I remember looking over to Jaguars and SI zone, John Shipley. Hey, isn't he a tackle? It's an end here. Just mark him as a tackle, whatever. Well, then here we go. And by the way, that isn't to take shots at Shipley. We didn't know what was brewing, man.
Right. That's exactly what it was. Everybody's making a few guesses here and there. So when you're getting your coverage, just understand that there are some built-in assumptions from all of us. And honestly, Nielsen seems like the type of guy. He's just like, hey, I'm doing things my own way. F you and your assumptions. Cool.
Going full Frank Sinatra. Now, the talk everybody talking about. I know you're going to do it. Chad Muma and Devin Lloyd. I don't know how it is. And maybe I'm the problem. I've said it before. Chad Muma's had some moments in preseason, but I never thought he was a super talented, super awesome player. But here he is battling with Devin Lloyd, and we do not have that clarity. Walk us through what you see, my guy.
Well, that's just it. So I'm very happy that Doug Peterson in his press conference earlier today made the little joke about it's going to be situational. That or on the depth chart with Muma and Lloyd is going to be more situational based, sort of like Doug Peterson or Press Taylor calling plays. Ha ha ha. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So I get that, and that's exactly what I said a day ago, but day before Doug said it. So I just thought, like, yeah, of course, Muma's going to be on the field on occasion. I mean, they're going to run a 4-3 package 20% of the time in either case. And maybe when there's only two linebackers on the field, there's a possibility that one of those two linebackers is not Devin Lloyd, depending on the situation. We know Muma's the guy who's always going to be in the right position. Like Lloyd may be more athletic overall. And I'm not even that's arguable. That's disputable. But Muma's solid in the run game, and that goes for something. So I'm just wondering, like they said, it's situational. Maybe they may want to use Devin Lloyd and it's more of those packages where they're having him rush the quarterback. We saw a lot of that in the preseason and the few plays, the few series that we actually got to see him. And I'm just kind of curious if that's what it's going to be, where you don't get one guy who's going to be 99% of the snaps. You just have two guys who are going to be like closer to 65, 70.
But really, if you listen to the Duval dive at all and what you told us about Ryan Nielsen in Atlanta, Travis, the dude loves the rotate anyway. Are we really shocked to see some of these air quotes situational occurrences or answers or direction in the depth chart here on defense? I just, there you go.
That's it. I mean, if he's a guy who's willing to rotate hold the defensive fronts in Atlanta. You think he's not going to be willing to do the same thing if you're not an elite level guy in the Jacksonville? Yeah. So we only have but a few of those guys. Maybe Andre Cisco, sure. Maybe Tyson Campbell, sure. But after you get past those guys and maybe a Foyer, you were talking about a lot of guys who are going to be rotating in and out because he's just about that. I'm getting everybody fresh. I'm just keeping this team attacking. And I don't care if you're this guy who's third in line, if you're this guy who's 11th. Let everybody get that work.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, the situational nature of what could come out, I think it's going to be dependent on basic. I think it has more it's going to do about the roster they're facing across from them, right? If they come out and, like, let's say, for example, let's say they're playing the Chiefs. I think you're going to see Devin Lloyd because there's going to be a lot more passing situations there than running. You come out against, let's say, I don't know. I'm trying to think of, you come out against
the Browns.
Yeah, and not to say that Anthony Richardson can't throw the ball, but they're a bigger running threat than anybody else in the AFC South right now. I think that's a safe assumption, Sure. So you may come out that game with Muma. I could see that. That makes sense to me. By the way,
and whoever comes out on play 1 may not even be the same guy that comes out on play 3. So it's fine. Again, rotation.
Is one middle of the field versus red zone. That too is a fantastic point. By the way, our friend Robert's back in the building here. Spent 2 hours on Dolphins pod repping the Jags. Not them believing the Jags will win. Robert, you're listen, not all heroes wear capes, sir. Okay.
We're doing the Lord's work. Amen. Come on.
By the way, speaking of repping the Jags, I mean, I don't do it as a fan. I just, I cover for the Duval dive here and show all the respect. I don't let people try to say Calvin Ridley didn't have a lot of drops compared to Tyreek Hill when Tyreek Hill had 50 more damn targets. Get those weak numbers out my house. What you trying to do? Sorry. But I will have you know, Travis D. Holmes, that I did drop my "you can't throw it long" lick talking about Andre Cisco, and it went over. I'm just saying. Check out the Let's Be Real podcast. Anyway, with that all being said, I mean, let's get into it, man. I mean, I know we're technically a little early, air quotes. Dolphins. And I wrote in my keys to the game, which will drop tomorrow on Fans First Sports Network's website on the Jaguars site there. So look out for that. But there are 3 particular things I'm worried about. Okay. And I'm just going to say it quickly.
Let's talk about it.
Time of possession, having a balanced offense, and adjusting if you're Ryan Nielsen. Now, the first 3 can be said for either team, right? If you're too reliant, I think you defend the Dolphins the way that you used to defend the Chiefs when Tyreek Hill was in town. Listen, do whatever you want. Dink and dump all day. You're not hitting a long ball. And we're going to rely on our front to crush you and put you into difficult 3rd and long situations and pray you can't convert.
Okay.
So, I mean, those are my 3 big things there too. What say you to that, my friend?
That's going to be interesting. And again, I'm not scared of this Miami team. But I have questions for the Jaguars defense that need to be answered because none of us has seen it. And anybody who tells you they're confident that we're going to just destroy and all of this other stuff, man, don't be a homer. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy, man. Come on, let's have real adult. Let's all be adults here. Come on. So I can see a way that the Jaguars absolutely win this game, and I can absolutely see a few ways that Miami could. But then that's where this comes down to: is the Jaguars defense ready to fight against this Miami Dolphins offense, who is well known around the league for scheming guys open? So to your point about the time of possession, I actually said on Jaguar United's podcast I was on last Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely want to get a man to like and subscribe. That I thought the Jaguars would need to rush for 175 yards to come out successful in this game.
170. That's a big
Combined.
Right, but still,
right. As a team. So we're talking Trevor Lawrence, we're talking Travis Etienne, we're talking Tank Bigsby across the board. I'm thinking if you are rushing for 175 yards, you're controlling the ball, you're putting together some 6 and 7 minute drives, you're giving Miami very few opportunities to actually score. And in those situations, that's how, the New England Patriots can hold these guys to 24 points last year. That's how, Buffalo Bills can destroy them later. Like, this is how these teams work. If you can just limit their possessions and make them start freaking out.
Don't forget the Titans worked him. Granted, Tyreek was hurt.
Yeah, I was saying that was a little iffy.
Hey, listen, if all it took for the Titans to beat you was Tyreek to be down with that offense, that's a blunder. Somebody did something right in the coaching room, or somebody did it wrong in the defense.
That's a big thing. That's fair. But no, if the Jaguars can establish the run, and I know folks say, well, the Jaguars' offensive line is not the greatest at run blocking. Hey, but guess what? Neither is the Dolphins' defensive line. So if you're going weakness on weakness, and if that's truly your thought process, then I feel like our weakness should be better than your weakness. Is that fair?
I mean, it sounds to me like you would have enjoyed my article thoroughly, Travis Holmes. It's precisely the point I made. One of the bullet points is even that these two offenses share the same weakness, and that is that interior offensive line. And listen, I like their tackles compared to their interior. Their interior is not great. They haven't had a good interior lineman since Richie Incognito got booted from the team from that whole situation with Jonathan Martin. And you know how long ago that was, okay? It's been a minute since they've had a good
You're bringing up a very interesting point that I think actually coincides with our show Don't Tell about the run game. Simply
almost as if I was setting that up for you. You want me to go ahead and do the video, Travis?
Well, it's interesting because the Jaguars ran a lot of wide zone last year because they just couldn't run up the middle. We all hated it. We all saw it. We all just scratched our heads at it all season long. Miami Dolphins do a lot of the same thing, except they're really successful with it because those guys are just freaking fast. That's all that is happening on a lot of these plays is they're just beating you to the edges, even when you have the right defense called. And if anything, that is something that I'm nervous about. But why am I talking, man? Go ahead and do your thing, bro.
Don't tell. Travis Holmes, here we go.
So you got Mostert out at wide receiver. So now you know they're in zone. You know your bottom linebacker isn't blitzing. And then you hand the ball off to Achane going around the corner, and there's nobody else home. Simply because they have the speed. Speed wins on those wide zones always. And it frustrates the heck out of a defense because you have the right call called. Like he absolutely the Mike has a free gap, right? Go, boom. And now it plays over. Even when you have the right defense called, you still are wrong because that wide zone allows you to speed. The unfortunate part for the Jaguars last year is we see a lot of those same kind of situations where we're trying to get to the edge and we just don't have this. Either we don't have the speed to get to it or we just don't have the guys blocking just enough to make it happen. But that's just one of those ways that Mike McDaniel, White Mike, as I like to call him, is he's going to try to out scheme you because he can't outpower you on the insides. And frankly, the Jaguars got to be ready because we have the defensive front to just like Denver had the right play called. We have the right defensive front. Are these guys going to play above the X's and O's and trying to just dominate these guys so that they can't run sideways, they can't run forward, and they just have to just lean on that passing game?
They start running into themselves because somebody gets pushed back in their silly face. I think that's the goal. But with that in mind, too, you mentioned the Dolphins' ability to run outside. I think that exists because no one's cramming the box against Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. That is not happening here. And then what we're going to do with the next show Don't Tell here, Travis Holmes, is then what they do in the pass game to take advantage of that.
Right. The motion. This is high school football. He motions them across. Now Tua automatically knows you're in cover one. He knows it before he snaps the ball. And at this point, it's pitch and catch, man. That's really all it is. A fake, they look at Tyreek. He runs him over. And now, again, because the corner runs across, he knows it's like on like. It's cover one. It's some kind of a man coverage. One step is all it takes. And now it's Jaden. It's Waddle. It's Waddle one-on-one with a lot of room to run away. And ever so often, you're just going to get a play where it's just Tyreek one-on-one, and you just got to get a hand on that guy. Now, that stinks because now we're talking a difference of a lot of this is just scheming guys open and making it easy for your quarterback. And then you end with, it's just guys, it's just dudes being dudes. It's just dudes being fast, and you got to beat them. And you have to face both of those things when you're facing a Miami Dolphins offense. Now, the good news for Jacksonville is I think we're actually in a good position right now to face this Miami Dolphins offense. And I say that because it almost feels like it was purposefully built. Ryan Nielsen, shout out, dude. So you got Darnell Savage, who is a 4.340 safety. You have Andre Sisco, who's a 4.33 safety. You have Tyson Campbell, who's a 4.36 corner, and you have Ronald Darby, who was a 4.38 corner. Now I know Ronald Darby ain't ran a 40 in a few years. He's done 9 years in the league. You know what I mean? But
just trying to say he ain't as old and busted as people want you to believe. Like no, actually, forget no offense. I don't care if you're offended, General Mike Payne. You're too hard on my Ronald Darby. I said it. Tore that AFC South. Anyways.
So we have 4 dudes who also are really dang fast back there, but we're also playing a bump and run coverage, defense. So this isn't the team that you're going to just run out of the gym. That this is a team where I truly feel like, and I wish we could have showed that other show don't tell, but it's okay. This is going to be like that Chiefs game in the playoffs.
It's going to come up. It's hard. I'm going to throw up the comment here. And Robert, I'll get to your comment about the 4-3-D.
If we can hit 2, he will fold. That's what I'm talking about, Angelo. Let's go. And that's what it comes down to. If you can slow down Tyreek, if you can slow down Waddle and just give your defensive line time to get the Tua, he will fold just like in that playoff game against the Chiefs when they started hemming him up. And you got that. We all know the one play where they jammed Tyreek on the line of scrimmage and he's like rolling, basically trying to get off the line. That is it. And this is very similar to the conversation we had last season when we played against the Browns. When I was like, they're playing this sorry backup quarterback, Joe Flacco coming off the bench, blah, blah, blah. And all they have to do is just hold him up just long enough to make him hold the ball, past through 2 or 3 seconds. And they couldn't because that's not Mike Caldwell's defense. That is Ryan Nielsen's.
That is the upside. Yeah, great point, by the way, there, too. If anybody was wondering why they changed from – and listen, I think both of us like Caldwell mostly, but if you're somebody who prefers more aggressive defense, listen, bro, if you heard me throughout the year on the Night Shift podcast powered by the Black and Gold Banneret, I was griping at Addison Williams for not bringing up DBs to get involved and get aggressive earlier in the season than he did. Lo and behold, they do that and they beat Oklahoma State. Why are you talking about college football from last year, Cal? Because it's me talking about the advantage of aggressive defense in a situation like this where the other side has better athletes. And in no situation will you face a deficit in an athlete than being a team going from the G5 to the Power 5. Well, okay, it's Power 4 now, but details. But going up from one league to another, where size and athleticism differ that much, and to still be able to hang, the key to that is getting aggressive and making plays happen and daring people to throw, which then doubles with my time of possession thing, Travis. The fewer opportunities they have, the more mistakes or miscues caused by aggressive defense hurt them. And listen, we mentioned hitting Tua being a thing. There's an interesting thing here, too, that Robert brings up. They can't stop the run. Well, hey, that works in the time of possession strategy. And they also struggle against a 4-3 defense. What do you think of that?
Hey, man, I believe it, but I don't know that that's necessarily the case across the board. I think it still comes down to man on man. Like, I think it comes down to who your individual players are. Because a lot of teams run a 4-3 defense, and Miami did not struggle against a lot of teams. They struggle against guys who can match up with them well. And because it's still going to come down to those dudes. I mean, we always say X's and O's, and a lot of this is X's and O's. Don't get me wrong. He's scheming up guys, as we've seen, and making it easy to see these things in the run game and the pass game. However, it still comes down to these dudes who can beat blocks when you just can't scheme for that. I can't scheme a double team in this situation. I can't scheme this guy any more open than this, and he's going to have to make a play. I can't scheme this defender to just stay, give him a small window to throw into. There's a few things where it's just dudes going to have to be dudes, and I can scheme to the best of my ability to give you a chance to fight for it.
Right.
Can you fight for it, man? But I'm here for it because, again, Mike Caldwell might have been a little bit more Lionel Richie than we wanted. And sometimes we want a little more, Tupac hit him up. And that's okay, too. So that's where we are right now.
Hey, at the end of the day, all we want is Travis D. Holmes dancing on the ceiling to celebrate a week 1 victory.
Take that. Let's go.
I like how we worked both the songs into that. That was a good experience, Travis D. Holmes. Oh, listen. Wow, we're getting to that point. Give me a score, buddy. What do you think happens?
Woo. All right, come on. Give me 32-24 Jaguars.
32-24. So what
Yeah.
Travis is telling you is take the over.
I've been saying that for a while, man. I've always thought. I mean, I think the defense is going to be ready. I do believe the defense is going to be ready.
Sir,
but
we have been saying that. Let's be clear.
Okay, that's fair. You're right.
Fully Duval's dive endorsed.
I apologize. I didn't want to bring you into my prediction just in case you'd be like, no, I don't know if I agree with that. But all right, cool. We have been saying that. We've been hinting at it for a while now.
You've dunked on me on my show, on our show before. See how I corrected it to our?
No, man. So I believe the defense will generally be ready, but at the end of the day, it's still a new defense with a lot of new moving pieces. A defensive coordinator who likes to rotate guys in, and offensive coordinator who likes to scheme guys open and find those chinks in the armor. I'm not going to disrespect White Mike in any way in that way, and I'm also not going to expect the Jaguars defense to be perfect on week 1, play 1. I'm here for all of that, so because of that, I'm going to see the over. But I still think the Jaguars can do it because I think the Jaguars can run the ball.
And you said 32-24, right?
32-24.
That's an interesting score. Yeah, somebody's getting a 2-point conversion up in this bumpy. Okay. Listen, by the way, I like this comment by Angelo. Offensively, we have to score, obviously. Doug has to be on point with play calling, and Trevor on his A game. Well, whether it's Doug or Press Taylor.
Yeah, I was about to say, Angelo, why you got to say Doug? Do you mean Press or Doug situationally?
I mean, I see what you did there, Travis. Listen, listen. Press Taylor, Meet the Press, Sausage Press, whatever. Whoever's calling the plays, they're basically the same guy when they do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're going to rotate out every other play. Well, whatever. Like, just call the play, man.
But the part where Trevor has to be on his A game, that feels obvious, but I would raise that to another level. Penalties overall, it's easy to say that penalties being reduced is important, but when you're coming out your first game in a new scheme, penalties are just, you're gonna get
that's gonna change it. You get them behind. If the Jaguars get behind the sticks, that's obviously not what you want. Like, from an offensive line penalties and everything, like, that's obviously not what you want. The Jaguars, the defense has been playing clean the preseason. At least we can say that. So we haven't seen a lot of penalties on that part. Right. But to your point, Jaguars don't want to get behind the sticks. I feel more confident, but with Miami's offense being behind the sticks because they're just more explosive. So again, there's more of a margin for sure from the Jaguar stance than Miami's.
But yeah, I mean, what I'm getting at is, no, we made the stop on third down and then you did something stupid, penalties to extend the drive. That can if the Dolphins get one of those, and you referenced by Travis's 1-score margin, that in itself should tell you something there. Listen, I'm a little bit different, and granted, in a different week other than week 1, this might be different. I'm going to come out and say that moment 1, okay?
Yeah.
31-21 Dolphins, simply because the defense still ain't quite got it yet on the scheme. And I'm willing to say this. Maybe it's 31-28 Dolphins on the strength of special teams doing a great job with the new kickoff rules like we saw in the preseason. So, you know what? I'll give the Jags, I'm going to say 31-28. Take the over. I just handed you 59 points. If it's don't bet, okay? What was it you had, Travis?
32-24. 32-24.
I have more points than you.
Jaguars are going to be up by a field goal at one point, and then they're going to kick another long one just to Cam Little to put that, to put that stake in the middle of the field and start dugging or something. He's going to do something crazy. I don't know.
If I said, I might even feel more confident with 31-24 just to get Cam Little with a kick in there. I'm sure that'll actually happen. Yeah, I have no doubt of that. But listen, you know what? I keep moving around. I'm going to stop it here. I actually do think it will be this close a game. It's going to come down to one home run play that the Dolphins pull. This is my actual final pick. 34-31 Dolphins.
31.
All
right, I got you.
Take the damn over.
I got you.
That's the real.
With all of this said, the final score is going to be like 17-10. It's something that just piss everybody off. But yes, I got you. We would both be amazed, Travis Holmes, and we'll have a huge laugh on the Duval Dive live instantly. It's week 1. Right. It's week 1. But yes, to your point, and I should not have interrupted that one. Duval Dive Live post game. Let's get on it.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Travis, tell the world.
Oh, you can find all my writings covering the Jacksonville Jaguars at bigcatcountry.com, including the post-game write-up. And I'm probably going to rewatch the game like the day after and just give you another, hey, these are the things that I've seen. This is my notepad after the game because I love you guys that much. For the people, all the socials, Travis D. Holmes, you know where to find me, Twitter, Facebook, etc. Any social that your mom's on, I'm probably on it. I got a MySpace out there somewhere, I'm sure. But let them know, babe. Where can you be found, Kyle?
Did you just drop a damn MySpace reference? This is that kind of
bro. Tom taught me how to code, man. Come on.
Whoa, hey, listen. Hey, I'm just glad I wasn't one of those dudes where my only friend was Tom. All right, I'll put it that way. Of course.
Nah, man.
I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. I don't know if you'll find me on MySpace as a student of the game, but you can find me at the SOTG on my Twitter, Threads, and Instagram. Of course, as a student of the game on Facebook. And also check out my writings with the Fans First Sports Network, where Travis and I, of course, both do the podcast edition of the Duval Dive. If you aren't already watching on the Duval Dive YouTube channel, like and subscribe, hit the bell, all that happy stuff. It's a fun time. And, of course, thanks again to Drew Willingham and his work with Sertoga Media, as well as the support we get from Hello Podcast and A7BN Sports, as well as Media Den, Sports Media Den right there, too. That's a fun time. And gosh, wow, you're right. We do need to make these shows longer. I mean, technically, we ran over 30 minutes. There we go.
I'm saying it.
I'm saying it, Cal. Step your game up. But listen, looking forward to week 1 action. Looking forward to see all of you there for our instant reaction. Please check that out. If you think this was fun, imagine me and Travis off the cuff. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. Ooh, off the cuff, off of a win or off of a loss. Woo, boy.
And I can't wait till you're on the field at Everbank after the game and we're doing one of those. That's going to be amazing. I know I had fun doing what we did it last year, so I don't know. Anyways, for Travis D. Holmes of Big Cat Country, special thanks to our commenters tonight, particularly to Robert and Angelo, who came in with some excellent contribution this evening. Thank you for that. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. And until next time, everybody, class dismissed.